Okay then, this is going to be one of those long, not entirely random waffling videos where I answer a couple, actually 3 Q&A questions while playing an open world sandbox type game. In this case, The Getaway on the PS2, which I did a video where I randomly waffled while playing this many years ago, but I'm going to do it again because why not? 3 questions from 2 people. They are sort of related. It's sort of a serious video. I need to make a couple of points that are sort of serious, but I imagine it will be... I'm going to try and keep it entertaining while making a couple of points. First question is from Graham Roberts. Link to his channel below. Hi Steve, for Q&A. Let me just turn around because I've got the computer where I'm reading this on, it's behind me while the screen is in front of me, so I'm turning around and I can't see the game screen. So I'll read these first before I start playing and talking, giving my answers. Okay, apologies this has taken so long. I emailed you about this some time ago, but then lost track of time and couldn't be bothered to type this on a phone or tablet. Alas, I am now in front of a computer with a keyboard, so can create the response properly. I don't remember if I even answered it actually. Anyway, as a caveat, this is not meant to be a dig at you or anybody else. The perhaps challenging statements are internal monologue things that I've said to myself, so I'm genuinely interested to know if you feel the same. As in, this is not me saying, what are you doing, but more asking if you think in the same way. I used to have a large-ish gaming hardware collection which included a Bandai Pippin and a Neo Geo AES. A relationship breakdown meant that they went missing from the shed in which they were stored. Missing is in inverted commas, so yes, the suggestion of dubious activity having been committed there. Okay, initially I was quite upset about this, but then shortly afterward I thought, what was am I doing? I have all these things around me, and yes, I've enjoyed playing them and collecting them, but ultimately, do I really need all this stuff around me? The question is, do you ever feel the same? Look around at all the boxes, wires, games, shelves, bent under load, blankets over boxes, etc., and think, what am I doing? Okay, I'm going to say something about this before I actually answer the question. You emailed me. Emailing me is never a good way to get a response. Did I respond to it? It sort of suggests that I did, but if I did, it's a rarity. Emailing me is 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get a response from me. Not just Graham, anybody. Don't email me. Here's the thing, to me, email is like, I've got 20,000, no I haven't, I've got 19 and something thousand subscribers. That's a lot of people who would like my attention. If you leave a comment in the comments, I may or may not answer it, but I answer things that I think they're interesting to me, but also may be interesting to other people. If you email me, it's like you want my one-on-one attention, just you and me. And if I was to give that to everyone who wanted it, well, I wouldn't have time to do anything else. So I don't answer them. Comments I answer if they're interesting and I have something relevant to reply to and think it will be interesting to other people. That kind of thing. Sometimes I just answer everything. It depends what kind of day I'm having, but emails, I don't. I will get to the question itself in a minute. I'm going to read these 2 other questions as well. 2 questions from Rockford C64, link to his channel below. First question, for Q&A, have you ever, and this is actually a very similar question, have you ever thought about selling a lot of your old computer stuff and having money in the bank for a rainy day? You can always play the games on emulators or keep 1 or 2 of your best systems. I had more gaming systems and so many games I would never play. I've got to change my glasses, I can't read this from here. I had more gaming systems and so many games that I would never play, then got rid of, then got rid, and now have kept my Atari Jaguar N64 Xbox, first one. Next question is also from Rockford C64 for Q&A. Would you say your gaming or having this channel had an effect on your last relationship? Thanks, keep it up. Okay, I've got to say something about both of these questions. I understand the interest in the realities of keeping a big gaming collection and the effect that has on things like my finances and my relationships. I understand the interest, but you really got to ask the question, is it any of your business? I am answering these now, and I'm answering them honestly and politely, but these kind of questions are airing really, really close to the kind of questions that get asked by trolls when they're looking for an attack angle. Certainly I have been asked very, very similar questions by a particularly persistent troll who they're constantly looking for an angle. You know, how can I have all of these systems when I say I'm broke? I'm not broke, I'm living within my means, which leaves not much spare money. But you know, and the whole, oh, you spend all this time and money on these things, it's no wonder your relationship failed. These are a very, very common attack angle from a particular troll. So questions like this, really, really, really close to the line. I'm sure that's not your intention here, which is why I'm answering them, but be careful. Ask yourself, is it your business? So, serious bit out of the way. The first question from Graham Roberts. Do I ever look at all of this stuff I've collected and ask myself, what the hell am I doing? Do I need this stuff? Yeah, I do ask myself that regularly, especially at the moment, since the end of my last relationship, since I moved into this place. Hey, I just polished that. I don't care if you just polished that. Look at the shops. I had forgotten the real shops. I haven't played this in years. Anyway, whoops. I'm playing at driving badly. Get out of the way. Since moving, the whole actual moving process from like a comfortable 4-bedroom house into a single room in a shared house, the moving process was a pain in the arse. It's an awful lot of stuff to move, and single-handedly in a little Fiat Panda. It took a lot of time and a lot of effort, and I had to cram a lot of stuff into a small space. And my whole way of living now, that I'm really enjoying and liking, is like a minimal lifestyle. I'm in a low-paid job. All of my money that I earn goes purely on paying the rent. Bills are all part of the rent, and food, and you know, the things that need to be paid, car insurance, fuel, that just on living. I don't buy stuff, toys, things, games. I am able to buy things to review for this chat. Go away. For this channel, because Patreon, and that's always been my stated purpose for Patreon. You know, it enables me to keep this channel interesting, shall we say. More on that later, because I have got something coming up that will be financed by Patreon. I'll talk about that later. Yeah, and whatever money is left after I've paid the bills and stuff actually does go in the bank, so that I do have a safety net, because there is very, in terms of social security and the way things are supposed to work versus the way things currently these days do work, there is very little in the way of a safety net. So, you know, I'm not living hand to mouth. I can survive for a time were I to lose my job, or were this landlady to decide, sod it, I'm selling this house. There is money for a rainy day, to answer one of the other questions there. But do I ever look at all of this stuff I've got, given that I'm living this minimalist life, and think, what the hell, do I need all this? Yeah, I really, really do look at it, and I don't need all of this stuff. My purpose in collecting it, when I started collecting, and I'm not collecting anymore, it was to scratch an itch. And this was like an itch from when I was in school. There were all of these gaming systems that I heard about, read about, was told about, that I couldn't afford. And then a decade or so later, they were all like at car boot sales and flea markets and later eBay, and they were cheap. And so I collected lots of them cheaply. I'm not one of these people who spends a lot of money on old gaming systems. Only a couple of the systems I've got did I spend a lot of money, and they were like holy grails to a degree. But I scratched that itch. All of those systems I wanted because I knew about them and couldn't have them as a kid. Well, I got them, I played them, played with them, whatever. Scratched the collecting itch. And do I need them now? It's like getting them made me feel good. It was cool. It's like, yes, I heard about this system, I read about this, I saw the pictures of it, I really wanted to play it. And I've done that. And now I can't have them on display and sit and admire them and think, how cool is this lot? So it's harder to like show them. That was like another purpose. It was like my own little private museum, and while I didn't have people come round and look at them, I could make videos and show them, where a lot of them now, it's harder to get at them because they are boxed and on shelves under throws and stuff like that. Why don't I sell them? Two reasons really. One, maybe three reasons. Maybe there is that whole, are they a financial investment? Will they increase in value? Actually, I don't know if they will, and as happens with a lot of electronics, they will, even if not used, or maybe because they're not used, I'm not sure, they will deteriorate until they don't work because capacitors and all that lot. Maybe, I mean, yeah, you can get them fixed and stuff, but that's not my field. So they're probably not a good financial investment. Partly it's like they're mine. I spent a lot of time and effort getting hold of them. Some of them in particular were very challenging to get hold of, and to get rid of them would cause me some pain, really. Obviously not physical pain, but you know what I mean. Part of it is purely selling them is risky, because eBay is totally biased towards the buyer, and there are some unscrupulous buyers out there, just as there are some unscrupulous sellers. But the risk of like selling something that's really quite valuable, you know, several £100 worth of retro computer, and then have them say it didn't arrive or it didn't work, I want my money back, and eBay will just be like, fine, here's your money back, regardless that it might be a bogus claim. The risk of that makes me very nervous, and I really don't want to get into that. So for the time being, I don't I would love the space. I would love to have the space and know that if I had to move again, or chose to move again, I didn't have to spend 2 bloody weeks trying to ferry all this stuff in a dinky little car. That would be great. There's something very appealing about the idea of, say, travelling light, living light, you know, not having lots and lots of stuff. There was a time I thought having lots of stuff, that was okay. I might not be on a high wage, but look at all this stuff I've got. Where now it's like, I look at all this stuff I've got, and ignoring the computers, I've got lots of games, I've got lots of books, I've got lots of DVDs, and lots of the music. Not so much. I listen to the music, but it's like there is only so much time that you can spend replaying games, rewatching films. It's like if you spend all the time rewatching the films that you've paid for, you've got the discs, or it used to be VHS videos, but I got rid of them when I moved because I just didn't have the space. You'd spend all your time rewatching things, and there'd be no time for watching the new stuff. And the older you get, the more stuff there is, the less time there is. In the end, you kind of have to stop accumulating stuff and basically living in the past, or reliving things that, you know. So, how many times can you rehash an experience, rewatch a film? Oh, come on, reverse your stupid thing. That's the reverse button. Oh, God. Get out of the way. My problem is I don't know how to drive this thing. Yeah. How many times can you redo a thing and before there's no time for new things? It's a balancing act, and it's one I'm kind of grappling with at the moment. So yeah, do I consider getting rid of it all? Yes, I absolutely do. Another reason why I don't is this channel, this YouTube channel. How do I describe what this channel is to me, and how important it is to me? It's kind of, I sort of have a double life. There is the me, the real me, that we'll just call me Steve C, because Benway isn't my real name. And then there is Steve Benway, who is like Steve C on steroids, shall we say. Just a little bit more upbeat, a little bit up-tempo, a little bit more lively, funny sometimes, maybe, daft, silly, stupid. I am all of those things, but it's all kind of distilled in Steve Benway. It's Steve Benway's Steve C with knobs on. That sounds wrong. Anyway, and that is largely based around this channel, and I like that. I like the attention, and retro gaming is what this channel is all about. So having all of this stuff is part of it. It's all tied in with this channel, and I don't want to say, it's like if I get rid of the stuff, do I have to get rid of the channel or stop doing the channel? How valid does the channel become if I'm doing it all emulated? Because it is all about playing the games on original hardware, though a good chunk of the entertainment value is just in me talking bollocks while playing badly. So yeah, I don't know, it's something I'm not comfortable with. I'm not ready to go down that path, but yeah, I really do think about it. Do I ever consider selling it all to have money for a rainy day? No, absolutely not. As I said, I have a financial safety net. I would be good for an amount of time. were I to find myself out of work, not a lot, but enough to get another job, I hope. And I'm not a person who is too proud to live, you know, I would sign on and claim benefits. I'm not too proud for that. And there are people who will attack other people for claiming benefits. And I say they are fucked up, excuse my French. Excuse me if you're French, I don't really mean to malign your language, it's just a turn of phrase. But anyway, the thing, this is going to be political just for a moment here. There are people who say that people who are out of work and claiming benefits are a bunch of scroungers, and why should taxpayers have to fund them? That is bollocks, and you're misrepresenting how the system works. The people who've worked all their lives, or a good chunk of their lives, and then are claiming unemployment benefits, they have paid into the system. It's what national insurance is for. You pay in. This is the deal between society and government. You pay national insurance so that if you find yourself out of work, there's a safety net. It's not taxpayers paying for you to have a free ride. That's the way it's being represented at the moment. Government is encouraging that, and there are some right-wing arseholes who will push that line. That's not how it is, and if that's what you think, you're a arsehole, basically. But that's enough of politics. Do I think about selling up and having money for a rainy day? No, because it is good to have a bit of a safety net, absolutely. But you've got to live life. Have things that you enjoy. I might question why I need these things, but it certainly isn't about getting rid of the things that I like, that I've collected, so that I can have a pile of money to sit on and do nothing with. That, to my mind, is absolutely stupid. I've spent time and effort, it's like worked, all of the stuff that I've got, I bought when I was working at Wilko's. It's hard work, and to do that and not have some kind of, to not benefit from it, to just have a number sitting in a bank account, rather than have something that says, I earned this and I'm going to enjoy it. No, that would be ridiculous and stupid to my mind. Life's for living. Everybody is going to die. What is the point of dying with a great big fat number in a bank account if all you've done is sit on your arse all day because you're scared to spend the money you've earned? No, sod that. If I was to sell my collection, I would spend the money on something. I actually know exactly what I would spend it on as well, and it goes hand in hand with that minimalist living thing, and as a kind of a safety net thing. I worry about homelessness. It is a thing in this country, and it's an increasing thing. And it can happen for many reasons. Being out of work is not necessarily the main reason people become homeless in this country. It's a factor. But for some people, they're working and they become homeless because rents go up unreasonably, because private rent and private renting now is such a big thing, and social housing is just being run down and just sold off. It bothers me. Being political again, sorry about that. I know you don't want politics on this channel, but unfortunately politics are a fact of life, and my gaming and my gaming collection are part of my life, and my life is part of the real world, and the real world features politics, unfortunately. Yeah, what would I spend that money on? I would buy a camper van, or I would buy a van and convert it into a camper van. I love the idea of having such a thing. Minimalist living. I mean, I have this, it's an impractical thing that I realistically couldn't do. I love the idea of living in, like, I don't know, a VW, what is it, T25 transporter thing, camper. You don't need a collection of CDs, DVDs and physical books to have an awful lot of entertainment. You can cram all of that into a tablet. You can have a laptop and have more gaming than you can imagine on emulators and stuff. You can have solar power with batteries and stuff for it will power an awful lot of stuff. Get off, you arsehole. I like the idea, and it's like, okay, living in such a thing would not be my first choice in terms of how to live, but you never know what's going to happen. But aside from that, holidays, that would be a great way to holiday. I love the idea of just like hop into the camper and bugger off somewhere at the weekend or for a week or two, whatever. My sister keeps posting photos on like Facebook and Instagram where they rented a camper and been trundling around France, and it's like so cool. Granted, that's a bigger kind of camper than the sort of thing I would want, but there is something really appealing about that sort of thing. Would selling off my collection fund a camper van? Well, not that kind, no. But a bare bones kind of thing without all mod cons would be quite viable, really. A second-hand van that's converted, DIY job, gradually worked on over the years, sort of thing. I find that very appealing. I would like to do that. Will I do that? No, probably not. Probably not. No, in terms of having a big load of money sitting in the bank to, you know, sell this off and do that, absolutely not. Though, I mean, I do always look on it as, if I hit really hard times and I needed money for whatever, I have got systems sitting on the shelf that I could make a useful amount of money from if I were to sell them. It's like not instant, you've got to wait a week, or I don't know how quickly you can sell a thing on eBay, but you know, yeah, I do look at that as it's there if necessary, but not to sell it and sit on it. That to me that's just wrong-headed. Enjoy the fruits of your labour while you can. You're a long time dead. I've got no one to leave an inheritance to. There will be no inheritance. This lot will get sold eventually. You know, people aren't long lived in my family. 75 and you're done. Well, under the Tories, politics again, sorry, they want to make the age of retirement before you can claim your pension 75. Well, you know, that's it. I'll finish work, and the day I finish work I'll drop dead, assuming I'm physically able to at that age. It doesn't bode well. Oh, I've been here in real life. That being King's Cross, I've walked past there. Can't remember where I was going to. Camden? Can't remember. It's a long time since I've been to London. Last time I went there I was in my 20s. No, I was 30 something. Anyway, yeah. So the final thing, has my collection on my YouTube channel, was it a factor in the ending of my previous relationship? Or has it had an effect on your last relationship? No. I'm sure there are people who wonder what the hell happened between me and Andrea. That is honestly none of your business, and I'm not going to go into details because it's none of your business, and also Andrea's not here to defend herself, so I'm not going to speak about her or anything, any the reasons are none of your business, but I will say gaming and this YouTube channel were absolutely not a factor at all. No, my relationship with her had an effect on my gaming and on my channel in terms of how much time I put into them. I put in a lot less time than I might have liked to have. But you know, you got to have priorities. And the same is the same true. Joe is a gamer. I spend I spend time actually watching her play video games because she likes to play video games, and I actually really enjoy watching her play video games. We game together when she comes here. As you'll be aware, I involve her to a small amount, really, in making videos for this channel. But do I spend less time doing that? I probably would spend more time making videos and playing video games if I wasn't in a relationship. What that doesn't mean is I would rather be making videos or playing video games than being in a relationship. It just means I would have more time on my own, so that's how I would spend my time. It's not I'd rather be doing that, because I really like spending time with Joe, and I would rather be doing that than playing video games or making videos. Priorities. But no, I definitely spent a lot less time when I was with Andrea doing either thing. Definitely, you know, they were not a factor in the ending of my marriage, if that's what you're looking for. And I certainly know there have been people who have suggested that was the case, and those people are currently blocked, though. They are the type who just create new channels and new accounts and keep coming back with the same. You see, this is why I said what I said right at the start. Questions like this, you really, really, really need to be careful when you're getting onto personal subjects. The personal life, the finances and the private life of a YouTuber. We YouTubers are entitled to our private lives, and some details are private, and you're stepping into very dodgy ground when you start asking questions along those kind of lines, however you might choose to phrase them and however carefully and politely you might choose to phrase them. You've got to be careful, because what I have chosen to answer this time, I might not have. Catch me on a bad day and I might just say fuck you and hit the block button. But today I didn't. Yeah, this was a bit of a probably not a very entertaining video at all, actually. Sorry about that. But I think it is one of those things that YouTube, being a YouTuber, putting yourself into the public eye, people are going to ask questions. They are going to be curious about what are your values, what are your priorities, where Patreon is concerned, you know, where finances and money come into it. People don't want to feel like they're being ripped off, or that the person making the videos is some kind of entitled asshole. I know there are people who think that I am, because I don't know, I work part-time and don't necessarily conform to what society expects, but I pay my way. Oof. I've forgotten what I had two trains of thought going there at the same time, and I've forgotten what one of them was. Yes, so people do wonder. people do ask questions sometimes that they're not necessarily entitled to ask, but I think sometimes it's worth answering them. It's worth addressing them, even if really it's none of your business. Because, I don't know, I suppose partly to defend myself, though maybe such a defence leaves me open to attack, because the trolls will just be, yeah, but the thing with trolls is they're never going to accept a reasonable answer, or any answer. It's never good enough. But when other viewers have seen that question and thought, yeah, what about that? Then I think I may be inclined to answer the question. You know, the thing is, being a YouTuber, it's not like being a celebrity. Some people do see YouTubers as celebrities, and maybe some YouTubers are your big names who really are making a living doing this. Might be classed as celebrities, but I am just some geezer who is just scraping by, who just happens to have been doing it a long time and been seen by a fair few people. So there's like the perception of the kind of life I might live, or the expectation of the kind of life I might live, and the actual life I really live. And the two are probably not the same. Ooh. Anyway, going back to something I referred to quite a little while ago at the start of the video, or near the start of the video, when I referred to Patreon and said I've got something coming up that I will be using Patreon funding for, and that thing, for the purpose of this channel, Patreon funding will be used, and that is, I'm going to Play Expo in Blackpool this year. I haven't been for quite a few years. I went to the first 3 and then haven't been since, because I haven't had the time or the money. Well, I've got the time off work. It will be my first holiday in 2 years. Anyone who thinks I don't work, or don't work hard enough, or whatever, I worked 7 days a week for 7 months, and I have had only 1 day off a week ever since, and this will be my first week off in 2 years. So anyone who thinks I'm lazy, screw you. Yeah, going to Play Expo, going for both days, going with Joe. So we will be there. This will be a completely new experience for Joe. I don't know what she'll make of it. She's been to Comic Cons. I went to a Comic Con with her. Actually, the second time I met her. Second day, it's like I met her, and then about a week later, we went to a Comic Con. And that was interesting, and that was like, that's her world. She's a geek. So she's coming to Play Expo with me. How am I dealing with this? Last time I was there, I had 2,000 subscribers, and I found it fantastic and overwhelming, because there were lots and lots and lots of people who came up and said hi, which was great, and I knew most of them, not all. I find it difficult because knowing who the hell people are, I know lots and lots and lots of people on YouTube and Twitter and whatever else, but actually putting a real face to a name, a screen name, is difficult, because a lot of people, I know them by their name and I don't know what they look like. They might have a picture of their face on like the little icon or whatever, or they might not, and even if they've got their own face in their little icon, actually that doesn't necessarily, what you see in an icon and what you see in the real world don't necessarily look the same, because you see people from different angles and they just plain look different. It's really hard to recognise people, and as I probably only came to realise fairly recently, I have a little bit of facial blindness. Not a lot, not as much as some people I know or am aware of, but a little bit. I do struggle to recognise people a bit sometimes, and if it's someone I'm not really familiar with, I actually realised this was a problem while I was at work. For me, recognising people is very much context based. Well, not people I'm only marginally familiar with. There was a guy who worked where I work, who I would see once a week. He would be there when I arrived at work, having, oh dear, he'd been there like on the night shift more or less. He would still be there when I was arriving, and he would be leaving, and he'd be dressed a certain way. And I was used to seeing him in that context, and I would recognise him as being this person that he was in that context. Then one day he came in at a different time of day, dressed differently, and I had no idea who he was. Didn't recognise him, and he was like, "Steve, you know who I am. I see you every weekend." And I'm like, "Really?" No idea. And that's when I realised I have a touch of facial blindness, and it quite gobsmacked me. And I looked into it more, and it may be Asperger's may be a factor in that. Certainly, one person I know who suffers from facial blindness significantly more than I do is also on the spectrum. But anyway, I don't know if that's a factor or not. But anyway, so yeah, basically, if you see me there at Play Expo, introduce yourself, because while I may or may not know who you are, and I may or may not recognise you, Joe absolutely will not know who you are. So that makes it easier for me and polite to her. Oh, God. But I am a friendly guy, mostly. When I'm not a grumpy bastard. But no, I have my... I tend to be in Steve Benway mode as opposed to Steve C mode when I'm at Play Expo. It is exhausting, but it is fun. I sort of have my presenter head on when I'm there. And I do talk to people. Any attempts to get me to join a panel thingy or to go back to anyone's house for a beer or a drink or whatever will be politely declined. That's not happening. But I will have my camera and my video camera with me. And I'm not completely sure how I'm going to be dealing with that. Whether it's just going to be like videoing the hardware exhibits and stuff, or will I be videoing people and talking to them? I have no idea. I'm playing it by ear, seeing how it goes. But there will be video footage. You know, it's like if I'm using Patreon money for this, you know, there has to be a payoff, and there will be video, and I will be making it oh my God, as extensive as I can, because fair is fair. And I've got to say, I am really looking forward to going. To be going with Joe is great. It was like the ones I went to in the past. I went with Dave, to a couple of them, and then I went on my own to another one. Though, I mean, it's not possible for me to be alone at Play Expo. That was, you know, I had 2,000 subscribers last time. Now I've got like 19 and a bit thousand. So I don't know what that's going to be like. I don't actually think it'll be I'm aware that 19 and a bit thousand subscribers actually doesn't mean an awful lot. It's all about how many people are actually currently watching and still watch and stuff like that, and a lot don't. So I don't know what you know. There will be people who know me. It's going to be fun to find out. I'm quite No, I'm very excited actually. It's going to be cool. So yeah, if you want to say hi, if you see me, recognise me and whatnot, by all means say hi. Do tell me who you are, just to save any awkwardness or embarrassment on my part, because I will feel really embarrassed or awkward if you know who I am and I don't know who you are, especially if I should know who you are. Happy to chat. Don't invite me back to your place or us, because I'll be with Joe, because we'll have plans of our own. I think that's really all I've got to say now. I am completely lost here. Haven't talked about the game at all. It is the Getaway. I used to play this a lot. Obviously I completed the game, because you have to complete the game before you get this free roaming bit, and I really like free roaming on sandbox games. It kind of frustrated me when I got it that you had to complete the game before you could do the free roaming. I think on Black Monday, the sequel, you could do the free roaming straight away. I think they perhaps realised people liked that bit, and why force them to do that, to complete the game before they can do that. Yeah. I mean, Grand Theft Auto really has it right in that you can do the free roaming as... It's like you can dip in and out of the missions as you see fit, rather than being stuck in storyline and doing free roaming. Here is a separate thing, where on Grand Theft Auto it's integral to the game. You've got a mission, but you don't have to do all the missions one after the other after the other. You just dip in and out of them. I think that's a better way of doing it. They didn't quite have it. Sandbox games hadn't quite, I don't know, maybe they were a bit too new when this was done, or maybe they just weren't as good at it, I don't know. But I like the idea that being able to traipse around London like this and be an arse, and I have done it where I've got out of the car and walked around and beat people up and stuff just for the hell of it. It's so long since I've been in London. There would have been a time I would have known where I was at this point, but now I'm like, I ain't got a clue. Memory, I don't remember how that works, or what it was like to have one. That's actually it's a completely different subject that I ponder what the hell am I doing with this collection. I also ponder how long, I mean, I'm not entirely relevant on YouTube anymore anyway, in terms of the kind of videos I make and what is popular now and how others make their videos. Not really very relevant at all, but I kind of have the feeling that in the future I'm going to become less and less relevant, because as I get older my memory is less effective. I'm gonna forget so much stuff. I won't be able to talk about recalling back in the day when I played blah, because it fades. I'm kind of horrified at how it fades. I was really quite worried about it for a while. I thought, is this early onset dementia? No, it's not. It's just getting old. The more you do, the more memories you accumulate, and human memory is finite. And I don't know that you actually lose memories, but they do get crammed down. It's like trying to jam more and more and more toys into a toy box. They all get jammed in together, and so it's hard to pull out the one that you want. And some days you'll be able to find it and some days you won't, and that's how memory works as you get older, and that's a pain in the arse. But it does make doing things like this well, YouTube channel that's nostalgia based, it gets harder. It's harder to recall those amusing, entertaining stories about that time at that arcade where that person dropped their 2p and then went, actually it was 10p. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Get off of me. I don't remember what happens now. Oops. Oh, fuck you. Language, Timothy. Oh dear. Oh God almighty. Oh my God. Uh-oh. Oh, move. I'm not... No, piss off. Oh God almighty. No. Have we got away? It is called the getaway, so I hope we... Come on. I think we lost him. Yeah. I think you got the gist. Memory not work so good now. YouTube channel might get crap. That sort of thing. I don't know. It's not a I'm not having a crisis of confidence. I think I'm realistic about nothing lasts forever. I'll keep doing this as long as I physically and mentally can, but the time will come when probably I can't. But at the moment, I still love it. I used to get... Last time I played this, it was like... I liked the nostalgia of driving around London, and I still do, though I don't remember much of London. But these days it's like... I used to go to London quite a bit when I lived in Milton Keynes, because it was... Oh God. It was easier to get to London. Good, you do that. Good, yes, excellent. You could get to London from Milton Keynes in about 50 minutes by train. God, I remember when you could do it for like 30 quid. In fact, I think it was even cheaper than that I think the first time I went to London from Milton Keynes, it cost a tenner. Definitely, I don't know what it would cost now. But getting to London from Worksop, no. I don't know what it cost. So generally, if I have the urge to go to a city now, I go to Sheffield. And I want to see Grand Theft Auto Sheffield. Though probably Sheffield isn't big enough for a game like that, or like this. It is a big city, but the interesting bit is not so big. The city centre of Sheffield, the interesting bit, the photogenic bit, the bit that I walk around with my camera, is not huge compared with London. What cities have I walked? I've walked around Leeds as well. That's an interesting place. Haven't really spent much time walking around Nottingham. And I find Lincoln actually really... Lincoln's not even really... It doesn't feel like a city, though it technically is. Lincoln's boring. The cathedral's cool. Steep Hill is cool. Every other part of it, boring. Don't like it. It's like, no. I went there with my camera thinking I'll take some interesting photos here, and just it was like bored. Nothing that appealed. Love Sheffield though. It is photogenic. It's got cool architecture and an interesting mishmash of modern and old. Got a lot of character. And hills. I like hills. There were no hills in Milton Keynes to speak of. And you just can't see very far at all in London, unless you're up on the London Eye or in the Shard or something like that. I think the Shard wasn't there last time I went to London, and it's not in this game either. Would be nice to see a modern remake of this, and they were going to do it, weren't they? There was going to be The Getaway for the PS3, but then it just didn't happen, and that's a shame. Okay, I think I've blathered on for long enough. I probably don't think this is a very good video. Not necessarily negative, but a bit rumbly. Sorry about that. I think it was necessary to make. I might be wrong about that. It might invite a backlash. I don't know. Stuff and things. Questions that probably deserved answering. And I do like doing random waffles while playing sandbox games. They are fun. Now I just want to get to Camden, go to Dingwalls, get drunk out of my face and listen to a good band. But I can't remember how to get to Camden. I'd say from here, but at all really. I haven't been there since I was in my 20s. So long ago. That's a weird thing actually. It's weird when you recall an event that happened when you were in your 20s and you are able to say, that was 30 years ago. What the bloody hell? How did that happen? I was an adult, and something that happened when I was an adult happened 30 years ago. Jesus. Life's weird. Okay, I am going to stop now. I've waffled for long enough. I'm just going to run this person over. That'll do. I don't know if she lived. Okay. Okay. I think I'm ramming you. And I haven't even gone to any of the cool... It's like there's a tank somewhere in this game. And I can't remember how to get to it. I know it's somewhere near near Whitehall or somewhere like that. Yeah, can't remember. I'm going to stop because I could go on for far too long and bore far too many people. You've probably all gone by now anyway, and I don't blame you. Okay, thank you for watching.
Ah, there you are. Have you finished polishing the silverware like I asked you? Yes? Splendid. Here's 50 pence. Now, go and click the subscribe button like a good peasant.